My name's Tom Bentley from SAP. I'm the recruitment manager there. So hopefully I'll be seeing a few of you around, coming in for jobs. What I suppose I want to highlight here in this is the huge variety of roles there are within IT. Okay, people tend to think that there's only going to be roles in software development, in testing. We have 1,300 employees in Ireland, okay, and we have 35 different lines of business. So we do everything from developing the software, selling that software, supporting that software, license auditing, translations, and that's the same for most companies here in Ireland. Okay, they all do a huge variety of skills. So there's not one box fits all. One area that I think a lot of companies struggle with is hiring enough graduates. Yeah, we have to look abroad to get enough graduates. So there's a huge choice out there. So don't limit yourselves. Just because you did a course in computer science and you think, I just want to be a programmer, have a look at other options. There might be other bits and pieces you want to do. You mentioned, David, yeah, who joined us 2 years ago now, year and a half ago. He started in one department and he was working as a support advisory. Okay, so talking to customers, finding out why they're not using the systems properly, and after 6 months he said, Tom, this isn't what I want to do. So we said, right, okay, what do you want to do? So he said, right, I want to develop software. I want to sit there, I want to code, I want to build solutions. So we got him a job in software development. So there are huge opportunities, huge differences. Everyone's looking about where they can fit in, okay? Who they are, where they can fit in. This is stuff we all do in Ireland, and a number of companies do exactly the same. Just to give you a bit of background, just to show you the diversity, okay, and the number of different roles we have. We have over 1,300 employees in Ireland. Over the last 3 years, we would have filled over 800 roles, okay? Now, probably a third of those are for people moving internally, but you're still talking 550, 600 roles from the external market. And the good news for you guys is we're increasing the number of graduates that we hire every year, okay? Our average age is 34. To you guys, that's probably not too young, but it's the lowest average age we have in the EMEA. We've got the highest number of female employees. I mentioned earlier about these meetings we have with the other top 10 IT companies, okay? There is a real shortage of female employees, female people doing IT, okay? So all these companies suffer from diversity issues, but we have 60-40 split, male-female, 28% female managers, 33 nationalities, 28 languages. A lot of the roles that we do aren't just the pure software development roles. They are dealing with customers. So say the Coors Brewery in the States stops working, okay? They'll ring us up and say, guys, we're losing $1 million every hour, fix it. So our guys will get into the system, they'll troubleshoot, find the problem in the code, solve it themselves, or get a group of teams together to go and do that themselves, okay? So it's not just about the computer science skills you have, or the skills in Java or .NET or C# or whatever language you've learned. It's being able to change those. You've shown by doing a degree you can learn, okay? We can then teach you, and the other companies in Ireland will be able to teach you specifically what they need from that basis of the degree you have. Again, we've got a base in Dublin, base in Galway, and this is just some of the lines of business we have, okay? So you're not just looking at programming or testing. You can do a whole variety of different roles. And again, that's exactly the same for all the big companies in Ireland. Just a quick slide to show you how the number of grads has increased. The biggest three problems that companies have in Ireland at the moment are languages, diversity, and graduates, okay? We can't find enough good graduates. So guys, there is no recession in IT. There is no recession there. People seem to be a bit scared to get into IT. You just constantly develop, you constantly evolve. If you're keeping your skills up to date, ourselves or the company you join will be able to do that for you. Now, how do we actually get this job? This, I suppose, is what you're all looking at. How do we get these roles, okay? You've all, I take it, have you all finished? Are you all in the middle of the course at the moment? Are you all graduated? Yeah, there's a few nods, a few people doing bits and pieces. Every time you apply for a job, you should change your CV, okay? Depending on what you're looking for. As I said, it might be a support role. You might think, I don't want to sit all day and just code. I want to talk to customers. Fine. But change your CV to highlight that, to the experience you have, okay? We want to look at the self-analysis, okay? Your knowledge, skills, experience should be summarized and aligned to the job profile. So every job description you see, change your CV, okay? So the first thing you see in that job description must have customer service experience. Well, what goes to the top of your CV? I have customer service experience. Yeah. The next thing is there being able to program in Java. Well, the next thing is I can program in Java. You're highlighting, any recruiter looking at that CV is going to go tick, tick, tick. There's no reason they're not going to give you an interview. Okay, so it's aligning what you've done to the job profile. Yeah, keep all the information in there. Keep it concise, logical, consistent. We don't like to see 20 different languages you've studied. The ones that are most relevant, absolutely. The ones you've actually worked in or done your final year project in, absolutely. That just takes up space. It's taking up space. That CV is your sales document, okay? That should be how you're addressing yourself to a company. Putting events and experiences in a chronological order. If there are gaps in there, being able to explain it. Yeah, people go on a gap year. People go travelling. People take a year off for whatever reason. I took a year off at university to go and earn some money. But as long as you can explain that, as long as you can go to a recruiter, well, between 2009 and 2010, I actually took a gap year. I went off travelling, but this is what I learned from that. This is what I gained from it. Things that we're not very good at here, guys, is using positive, active verbs to describe yourself, okay, and your achievements. And if possible, explaining your achievements with figures. There's a great technique to use in an interview. Once you've got past that first stage of actually, getting through the door, there's a thing called the STAR technique. Has anyone had interviews yet? Anyone been doing interviews? Cool. This STAR technique is just showing, it's like telling your mates a story in the pub, okay? You're giving a little example of what you've done before, because what you've done before is what you're going to do again. And you're setting up the situation, the task, the action, and the result. Hence why it's called the STAR story. And that just allows people to see, right, you've done this before, this is what you can do again. Okay? The skills that we are looking for, what we as employers want, okay? These are hugely important, obviously. Your specialist skills, the skills you've learned through your studies. Specific languages, IT skills, etc. Commercial knowledge about how business works. Massively important, because that shows you can learn. Okay, that shows you've got the aptitude to learn. When you join us, or you join a separate company, you join someone different, they're all going to train you different ways to use different languages. We might not be using Java in 3 years' time. We might be using a different language. We've got our own language that we use for developing software. So it's showing your ability to be able to learn those different languages to change. I suppose we look at what you might call T-shaped people, okay? So you have the crossbar of the T, okay, is a broad width of skills. That can be everything from working in a bar, dealing with people, from being able to work in a team, yeah, if you've been in a sports team, if you've been working in Superquid, if you've been working in Musgraves, it shows you've got that aptitude to work in a team, a vast variety of skills. But then the crossbar of the T is your deep knowledge in a specific area, okay? You might have that already. That might be something that we teach you. But that's, the combination of those. So you can actually move around in different teams. As a lot of you here are working software development, okay? We've just opened an area called the App House, okay? And it's built to be a little bit different, so that you can go in there. David works in there. He'll tell you all about it. It's an environment where you can be more creative, okay? So there's bits of Lego in the corner. You can write on all the walls. So if you're writing code or you're having a Scrum session, you're writing on the walls and going through the projects that you're involved in. It's all open plan. So if 1 week I'm working with Billy over there, okay, I'm doing some software development. Next week I'm working with Jane over here doing a bit of testing. You actually take your desk, roll your desk over and move it over. And it just allows people to be a bit freer, a bit more open. There's a couple of great videos actually on YouTube. If you stick an App House on YouTube, have a look on there, and it just shows people, it gives you more, it's about designing software. We want to design software in 90 days, from conception to release, okay? And we do that through a series of scrums and through a series of cycles of development, okay? And that's what we're moving more and more towards. We're going to be, and everyone's moving more towards mobile. Okay, we're going to be number one in the mobile space, so that a manager, if in Walmart in the US, can pick up his iPhone, his iPad, and check what stock he has in every store instantaneously. Now, previously that would take 3 days to run a report. They can now see straight away, right? Okay, this is what stock I have. That's going to save people billions in distribution costs, and that's what we're moving towards, making businesses run better. Okay, the other skills, we've talked about the general skills, the communication side. Everyone needs to be able to communicate, whether that's to a customer or to people in the team, okay? If you can exhibit in an interview or in your CV the communication skills you have, Brilliant. Again, it's going to be a big tick next to you that they're going to get you in for an interview. The people skills, the self-reliance skills. Can you work independently? Again, it's hard sometimes when you are a graduate because you don't have much work experience, okay? But fall back onto the old reliables of the project you've been involved in, okay? Be able to talk about that at length, okay? Be able to say, what was it you did? How did you decide what you did in the project? You know, did someone take the UI side? Did someone take on the design side? Someone took on the other side? This is how we decided it. Show some format behind that. Show some reasoning behind that, and then you can explain that better to an employer. Okay. Know your own strengths and weaknesses. Okay. I always think that the interview of getting someone in and seeing someone's CV is almost like your first performance review. Okay. You can see what you can do, how we can mould that. I reckon that in SAP it takes 6 to 9 months after a graduate has come in before they're actually ready to go out and talk to a customer, before they're ready to go and do their job properly. It takes that much time in ramp-up time to teach you what we need to teach you, okay? But having that core basis of the skill of be it in Java programming, be it in the business side, having the business acumen is what we will rely on to be able to teach you that. Are you organised? You know, very important, very important. Certainly when you're trying to deliver software in 90 days, yeah, you need to be organised. You need to be part of that team, okay? There are, as I said, all the companies I mentioned earlier, they probably hired in the region of 2,000 people last year. Okay, you guys are in a very privileged position. You have skills that a hell of a lot of employers are looking for. Okay, so you can be picky, you can be choosy about the company you want to apply for. Okay, you need to be picky because you need to be certain that this is the role you want to do. So have a look at the breadth. All these places, I mean, our careers site, you can go on there and see the huge variety of different roles that people have. Okay. Yes.
Hi, sorry, can I ask you about your recruitment process? What exactly is involved?
It depends. It depends on the role. For a lot of the graduate roles, and we are going to be hiring probably 20 graduates before the end of the year to start in January for our app house, for our development side, okay? We will get you in for a standard interview, absolutely. We'll get you in for a face-to-face interview where we will ask you about your programming experience. We'll probably have a little Java test as well, just to see if you know, and that's only going to be if you're doing, you know, if you're going to work in that area. There will be an interview. What we'd like to do as well is do a group session. Okay, so we'll put you in a room together with 4 or 5 other people. Now, it's not a fight, it's not a battle. There's going to be no boxing gloves under the desk, but it's to see how you interact as a team. Because teamwork to us is massively important across all the lines of business. Whether that's sales, you've got to work as part of a team. In development, working part as a team. You're only as strong as, and that's why we like diversity. Different people from different cultures bring different ideas, different ways of doing things. That's why we're hiring more graduates, because people are coming with different ideas. We don't want to do things the same way. We can't, because we're constantly evolving. We're using the latest, greatest technology. We need to know how to be able to do that, and that relies on people learning that. So we need to see how you're going to interact as a team. So we might give you a little exercise like a survival exercise, okay, where your plane's crash landed, there's a list of 12 items, you've got to decide as a team which ones you salvage, okay? And it's to see how you interact, how you work as part of a team. The result doesn't really matter if you live or die in the exercise. You can freeze to death as long as you work well as a team, and that's what's important. Okay, the teamwork side as well as those specialist skills you have. Thank you.